Welcome into the Georgia Vote streaming panel, our political roundtable. If you caught us on TV, this is even more of the conversation. Joined here by, going down the line, Donnell Suggs of the Atlanta Voice, Deanna Harris, a Republican strategist, and Deborah Shigley, a former and pretty recently former Democratic candidate for office in the state Senate. It has been a busy week in Georgia politics, which is something we find ourselves saying every week. Donnell, let's start with you, because I know you've been busy down at the State House.
Yes, sir.
The session has just kicked off. Governor Brian Kemp, Republican, delivered his State of the State address, his final as governor, because he is term limited. What stood out to you as you listened into that speech?
I thought he did well with the State of the State address on Thursday, and he did well the day before at Eggs and Issues.
Because there's kind of a long rollout of these things,
That's what it
right?
is. You got to roll out the small version, then the longer version, with the same amount of people clapping and what have you. I think he did a really good job of saying that the budget is in a really good shape. We have a surplus. He loves touting the surplus, which he should, and that he's just saying we're leaving it in good shape for the next person to get it, and for that person to not fall into trying to make people happy by governing the state. I think he did a really good job of doing that.
Deanna, did it feel more of a swing for the fences kind of speech and ask of the legislators in the room, or was it, in your view, more of a focus on legacy kind of address?
I think it was a focus on legacy, as you said. We really appreciate the money he's giving to the Hope and Dream Scholarship. I think that's really huge. Democrats really appreciated that, so that gives him a good little, way out and, a good legacy to fall on. And then again, like I said, the money that he's investing back into the capital city is really important too. He's doing so much investment with the budget that we have, plus spending the surplus, with law enforcement, hiring, teachers, pay raises. I mean, it's been a lot, and we've still been able to manage and have a multi-billion-dollar surplus. I think he's done a great job as a governor.
And Deborah, for Democrats, Governor Brian Kemp has been a big, many would argue, the biggest presence in Georgia politics, certainly on the Republican side, and many would argue statewide in general, maybe excluding some presidential candidates and our current president, Donald Trump. But Governor Kemp has had an enormous influence on our state. He's term limited. He can't run again. What are the conversations happening inside Democratic circles about what comes next? Do they view this as an opportunity, or is it concern?
It's a huge opportunity. I mean, we have an amazing field for the gubernatorial nomination this year, and certainly so much kind of falls from the top, right? If you've been the governor for 8 years, there's a whole sort of infrastructure that falls under that in terms of fundraising and all of the agendas and the mandates. And if we are able to open the door to a Democratic governor and all of the state house seats that are going to flip this year in 2026, it's a whole new landscape here in Georgia.
There's a lot of power in incumbency. Deanna, on the kind of opposite side of that same question, what are Republicans thinking as now Governor Kemp will not be on the ballot come November of this year?
Well, we still have a top of the ticket ballot, where you'll have, Republican nominees for governor and lieutenant governor and on down. But we also are looking at possibly flipping that Public Service Commission seat back. The reason why we lost it this past cycle last year in 2025 is because that was really a Democrat year. Most municipal races and local races are Democrat voters, right? Localities, cities, counties, most of those are mostly majority Democrats, and they bring out their voters for that. And that's kind of one of the reasons why we did lose those two statewide seats.
Donnell, you do a lot of reporting in the field, talking to voters. What do people tell you they want to hear their candidates talking about on the campaign trail?
How to make their bills smaller.
Affordability. This is almost the inescapable word on this table, under the Gold Dome and in Georgia right now.
Overall cost of living. All the other stuff is cool, and winning different seats. And the common person is like, great, that's wonderful. What does it do for the fact that my electricity bill is $300? If I can get that down, or I can get my young 21, 25-year-old daughter an apartment that's not $2,000 a month in Atlanta and close to home, then those are victories for regular people. And they tell us that all the time. How can we get that? How can we get this?
Deborah, I asked you this question while we were on television, but I want to ask Deanna this question to you as well. I mean, if everybody is talking about the same topics in an election, you've got to draw some dividing lines between you as a candidate and your opponents. If everyone's reading from the same hymnal, Deanna, how do you do it? How do you differentiate?
Well, I think what the Senate is trying to do with reducing the income tax and having it become a gradual process to where we become similar to Florida and other surrounding states where we're at no income tax. That'll be very impactful, and I can see Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones really doing a head charge on pushing that so that can support his gubernatorial campaign. And then on the House side, right, where we're looking at the property taxes that are constantly rising because cities are just, they're having billion-dollar budgets too, and that comes from property taxes mostly. And they're looking to cap that on the House side, and I think that helps support those members as well, and using that in their campaign.
Let's end here, Deborah. This is your maiden journey on the Georgia Vote Political Roundtable. We're going to give you the last word here. Just from a candidate's perspective, we talk about candidates all the time, but you've been in the seat. It's a person behind that campaign and behind what's going on. There are always unexpected events that go along. How are the candidates, how are the campaigns going to roll with, inevitably, things that are going to come up for the next year that are not in the game plan right now?
Well, that's the fun of it, honestly. I mean, the fact that
maybe you can say that because you're not running anymore.
No, this is the excitement of it. I mean, things could change on a dime, whether it is, truly impactful things current events that happen in our community, or somebody has a flub or whatever it might be. So I think that's what we're watching. That's the excitement, and that's where opportunities happen as well.
That was well put. We gave you like 20 seconds and you hit right the mark. As always, guys, Donnell, Deanna, and Deborah, thank you so much. We are out of time, but we will see you back here again soon for more of the Georgia Vote, including every Sunday right here at 11 Alive Plus. We'll see you then.